Welcome back to my show. This is the Stars on the Pitch. So today we are going to be talking about a couple of things. And we are going to be starting the show, of course, with, the conversation between who is a better manager between Mikel Arteta and, of course, Unai Emery. That is one. Second thing, we are going to be looking at two occasions on which, or at which Jamie O'Hara has, have a dig at us now. And we have to look at the things that they said, are the things he said, are they the right things or are they just, being hypocritical? So starting the video, just like I have said, and by the way, during the video, if there is anything that you really, really want to say, please remember to drop your comment in the comment section. And also remember to subscribe to the channel. It is very, very important. So starting this conversation today, let me play this video first. I don't know this guy's name, but I know he's a Chelsea player. Let me play the conversation. I mean, it's Chelsea's fan, and TalkSport gives room to all of these guys to come and have their debate. So let us play the conversation and then we can start we can start the show from there.
Arsenal fans are looking at Unai Emery now and going, we could have stuck with him, we might have won a trophy sooner, we might have won a Premier League sooner.
I would argue that they would have done.
Arsenal
fans are quite precious about this. They don't like talking about Unai Emery. They try and always sneer at him and they try and cast a bit of a shadow over his time at the club. They don't
not all Arsenal fans.
The vast majority.
So before he talks on, before he keeps talking on, the lady said Arsenal fans will be looking at Unai Emery like, they should have kept him on. I do not really understand that conversation. Mikel Arteta for 3 to 4 seasons now has actually kept Arsenal second on the table. Second on the table behind mighty Manchester City. Second on the table behind mighty Manchester City. And all of a sudden, just for one season that Unai Emery is doing an unbelievable job at Aston Villa, Arsenal fans are all of a sudden supposed to disregard all of what Mikel Arteta has done and start looking up to, Unai Emery that, okay, maybe if he was there, we haven't, he wouldn't have been second all this while, but now that he's at least maybe second on the league table or third on the league table, kudos to him. Maybe, it's now time for him to become, a proper Arsenal manager. Because I'm trying to piece these conversations together.
Don't like Emery. The vast majority are fairly cynical about his contribution to the club. And I think on some level, when he was there, it was right that he left. It was Unai Emery that was their manager when they went to Baku to face an all-London European final and got absolutely battered. So I kind of understand why Arsenal fans aren't particularly supportive of Emery. But he's a better manager than Mikel Arteta. Like, if you just go kind of, and you distill this point to as basic as you can.
So why did Arsenal, let go of Unai Emery? Because he did not meet the basic objective of what he should be doing at Arsenal. The objectives at Arsenal were that, he has won several European titles, of course, with the likes of Villarreal, won a lot of European competitions and all of that. You came into Arsenal, you could not win the title against a not London rival, Chelsea. So he simply did not complete his objectives, and the fans were largely unhappy with that. It is okay for him to leave at that point in time. He left and of course went back to, Spain. Now back in England for the first time in a very long time. He's performing amazingly well at Aston Villa. And all of a sudden, these pundits want Arsenal fans to just disregard all of what Mikel Arteta has done. And just embrace Unai Emery again. This is how they stir up conversation. This is how they change narratives. This is how they change things. So, let me play the video.
Who's a better manager? Mikel Arteta might be a better Arsenal manager. Arsenal fans might argue that Mikel Arteta is a better manager for them, for their purposes, for their club. But nobody else in the country would agree with that. The better manager between the two is obviously Unai Emery.
But
the better manager between Unai Emery and Mikel Arteta overall, now this is me being honest, overall, we give it to Unai Emery because, of course, when you look at the CV, overall, Unai Emery has a better CV than Mikel Arteta. Unai Emery has won more titles than Mikel Arteta. But if you are looking at the manager for this generation, the manager for this time, if your club were to be looking for a manager and you have Mikel Arteta and Unai Emery available, I can tell you that your club will go for Mikel Arteta. If a very, very big club, if Chelsea, the club that his support is looking for a manager right now, I can tell you that the club will go for Mikel Arteta while Unai Emery is there. Because sometimes it's not really about the title, it's about the progress. And for club owners that are not fans, because fans are keen on winning titles, club owners are keen on progress. They are keen on sustainability. They are keen on things that can actually, sustain the club for a very, very, very long time without having to spend big budgets every year and also achieving the main title of, the main objective of winning titles. So when you look at this, for example, let us use Real Madrid as a case study. Real Madrid, they have the structure, they have absolutely everything. But right now they have a managerial issue. They have had that since about last season or so. And you can see it in the whole of the club that something is missing. That is where a very, very good manager comes in. That is where a very, very good manager comes in that can maintain structure, that can do all of that. And by the way, the season is still very much on. And if you remember, it was absolutely all Mikel Arteta. A couple of while back, Mikel Arteta was of course supposed to win the title. He's going to blow Manchester City out of the water. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. But now the narratives are changing. It changes every week.
The job that Mikel Arteta has done is getting out the deadwood at Arsenal and showing that they're progressing season on season and really, really pushing the chance for the title. You can't take that away from them, and may well win a Champions League as well this season.
Yeah, all right. We'll cross that imaginary bridge when we get to it.
It's not that imaginary, Rory.
What, Arsenal in Europe? Arsenal side with a pitiful record.
Are they not
what are we talking?
Champions
Alan Smith against Parma when I was about 6.
You don't think this Arsenal side could win the Champions League? I'm not saying that.
In Mikel Arteta's reign at Arsenal, they have watched 3 London clubs win European silverware whilst they haven't won any. Yes. They haven't won any for decades.
Yeah,
we can talk about Arsenal winning European clubs.
They've been progressing. You can't take that away from them.
Yeah, they can progress. And look, obviously, they may well prove me wrong, and they could go to.
Can you imagine? They can progress, they can progress. It's okay to progress, but it's not okay to give credit to the manager for doing these things, for taking a mediocre club out of mediocrity and actually turning them to, one of the biggest clubs right now in the world. Because if you have to talk about it, this season, Arsenal are still the number one in Europe. There is no two ways about it. Arsenal are still number one in the Europe. There is no two ways about it. With all of the hatred, with all of the hypocrisy, Arsenal are still very, very much leading the league table in the EPL. With all of the adversity and everything against Arsenal, they are still very much leading the league table. But of course, Unai Emery has having a very, very good just one season. And of course, we have to take away everything that Mikel Arteta has done.
To Budapest and win the European Cup. But like I say, we'll talk about that when it happens.
Yeah. Okay. So where does Unai Emery rank then?
In the Premier League?
Managers in Europe.
I think if you are ranking managers, if you do it in the country, I think it's very easy in the country. He's clearly the second best manager in the country. Pep Guardiola can't really be compared to anyone.
Do you agree that, Unai Emery is currently the second best manager in the EPL after Pep Guardiola? Please remember to drop your comment. I really, really want to hear from you. I want to hear your opinion. It is very, very important. Do you agree that Unai Emery is the second best manager? Overlooking what Maresca has done, even for the fact that Maresca, as a matter of fact, won Chelsea the what did they call it now? The World Club. Arteta has been doing amazingly well. Unai Emery, amazingly well just one time, 10 matches or 15, maybe 12 or so matches. And all of a sudden, he's suddenly the best manager after Pep Guardiola. Mind you, Arsenal are the first on the EPL table. Arsenal are the first in Europe. So I don't understand how this guy, I don't understand how they think.
Is operating at the moment. If you want to compare Pep Guardiola to other managers, you have to start talking about Johan Cruyff, Arrigo Sacchi, Sir Alex Ferguson.
All right, guys. So this is what I'm going to be talking about on this topic. Let's go on to the next topic. Please remember to drop your comments. It is important. I want to hear from you. So the next thing is I'm going to, be looking at Jamie O'Hara. Of course, Jamie O'Hara. I think it was on Sky Sports. And one thing is, okay, let me go to the video. Let's look at the video.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you want to win the league, you got to beat the best sides, and I think they've struggled this season against the top teams. I think they get beat by Liverpool, they draw Man City, get beat by Villa. So these are moments where I think Arsenal have got to be like, right, we're going to go and win this game. We're going to go and win this Premier League. When I watch Man City win it and Liverpool have gone and done it, they've gone and beat the best sides. You know, that's what they do. They turn up and they win. So I think Arsenal have to win this game against Villa. It's a massive game for them.
Okay, so before we go into the game against Villa today, which Arsenal is going to be playing today, to be honest, that is a very, very important win for Arsenal. Arsenal has to win that match today. Yes, Arsenal has to win that match today. I agree with that. But he's talking about Arsenal, not to have won against the big boys in the league. So who are actually the big boys in the league? Okay, the big boys in the league, as the case may be, are, we pick Manchester City themselves, we pick Liverpool, we pick Chelsea, we pick Tottenham, we pick Manchester United. Okay, now, against Manchester City, Arsenal had a draw. Against Liverpool, Arsenal lost. Against Chelsea, Arsenal drew. Against Manchester United, Arsenal won. Against Tottenham, Arsenal destroyed Tottenham. Tottenham, the club that he supports, right? Arsenal destroyed Tottenham. Absolute destruction on that day. Now, when you look at Man City, I think they lost to Liverpool. They lost to Liverpool. They drew at Arsenal. They lost to Tottenham, I suppose. They maybe I'm not really sure about Chelsea. But all in all, please, you can drop in the comment section the matches that the big matches, as the case may be, because I don't really know what it means by big matches. Because Aston Villa beat Manchester City, Aston Villa beat Arsenal, Aston Villa beat Chelsea. I think the only club that has beaten Aston Villa this season out of the big four, the big six, is Liverpool. So where is this narrative of you have to beat a certain club to win the title? Where is it coming from? Because let me just continue to play the video.
And I think there is a bit of concern in the fact they're not scoring loads of goals. They're creating chances, right? And that's your biggest concern as a manager. If you're not even creating a chance.
The Arsenal is not scoring load of goals. If you look at the goal difference right now on the EPL table, it's just about 4 or 5 goals difference. It's about 4 or 5 goals difference. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's about 4 or 5 goals difference, and yet they are not scoring loads of goals. So how many goals are they supposed to score? The only thing that makes Manchester City looks like they are scoring a lot of goals is because it's only Haaland that is scoring for them. Haaland has scored a load truck of goals. But as now, the goal is distributed. The goal has to come somehow. It doesn't even matter if it is a corner, if it is a own goal, if it is whatever. They just want to get the job done. They just want to get the job done. So, guys, what exactly do you think about what Jamie O'Hara is saying? Because to be honest, I think Arsenal has to win Arsenal has to win the Aston Villa match today. That is a no-brainer. They have to win the Aston Villa match today. But these same guys are the people that have been telling you that the season is not over. The season is not over. When Man City was losing the match. But whenever Arsenal lose a match, the season obviously is over. And by the way, Sky Sports is supposed to be doing a very, very good job, because Sky Sports now are more or less like just a normal YouTuber that doesn't even do research before they come out to post content. How can Sky Sports, allow Jamie O'Hara to be saying this and nobody's even checking the statistics and looking at the facts? Because I just can't remember in my head now, because I know that Arsenal is the only club that has taken more points in big matches this season. Because the only 2 matches that they have lost this season is Liverpool and Aston Villa. Arsenal has practically taken points off all of the rest of the matches that they have played this season. Look at Chelsea the other day, Chelsea, Aston Villa. They lost as well to Aston Villa. They had a very, very good first half. An amazing first half. A first half that is deserving to be watched. So let me go on to okay, I think let me finish playing this video, then I'll go on to the next one.
Then you're thinking, right, what am I doing wrong? The chances are there, but they're not converting them.
So let me go on to, of course, another Jamie O'Hara video. Here I think you just have to admit that his favorites are Man City, because at the end of the day, that is what basically that is what he has done. That is what he did in this particular edition of this video. So let me go ahead and play it for you.
Well, you have said that throughout, haven't you?
They're favourites. They've been there and done it. They're 2 points behind Arsenal. I know we're going to talk about it later on, but everyone's saying Arsenal are favourites. I'm not convinced Arsenal are that great. Own goals and that have been their best player in December.
The problem I have with this particular conversation Manchester City are favorites, right? Let us agree that we all know Manchester City are favorites. So how is Arsenal the problem? How is it a must that Arsenal win the title if Manchester City are the favorites? Because if Manchester City are the favorites, obviously no other team should be competing. We should also assume that they are going to win the EPL, right? So why the headache? Why talking about Arsenal? Why still, saying these things that Arsenal are not going to win the EPL when obviously you are picking Manchester City as a favorite?
But for sure, Manchester City are showing already now that they know how to get it done. We've seen this so many times. After Christmas, Man City put their foot down. They're signing Semenyo, big statement signing, strengthens the team.
Last season, by the way, Arsenal won all of the matches in the second half of the season except Aston Villa. If Arsenal had won Aston Villa, they would have won the league last season. Manchester City won all of their matches in the second half of the season. The parity between Arsenal and Manchester City is getting closer and closer and closer and closer, and nobody seems to be, accepting that. But then here is Jamie O'Hara saying that Manchester City are still going to win the league, but at the same time they are all in Arsenal's business. Looking whether or not if Arsenal is going. So nobody should even be bothered about the fact if Arsenal is going to beat Aston Villa, because you know that regardless of Arsenal winning or not, Manchester City will find a way to win the league. So just face on that. Just concentrate on that. If Arsenal win today and Manchester City eventually lose a match, they will give you another reason why, Arsenal have won against Aston Villa. And the same Aston Villa, they have said that is going to win Arsenal. But then they will give you another reason why Arsenal, has won against Aston Villa. But then Manchester City will still need to calm down, then eventually still come and win the league.
They're scoring goals. You've got Haaland up front. All the players are improving. I'm telling you now, Manchester City are going to win this Premier League. Arsenal, look, they've.
And, the annoying thing about this whole conversation, right, is that when you hear things like this, talking about Manchester City bringing in Semenyo in January, you begin to feel like it's only Manchester City that will go into the transfer market. And the transfer market has changed now. The dynamics in the transfer market has changed because all of these teams are now big teams. If Arsenal needs any player right now with the kind of project Arsenal has going on right now, they would come to Arsenal. A big player would gladly go to Tottenham, go to Chelsea, go to whatever club because the league has become so competitive and Manchester City is no longer the dominant in the transfer market. But when you hear someone like Jamie O'Hara, of course, it's only Manchester City that are going to be in the transfer window. No other club is going to improve their squad. So this is the conversation. Everybody talks like Manchester City will go on to destroy every other team. Arsenal will go ahead to lose all of their remaining matches, so that they can say that they said so.
Started great. They are not favourites. They have not won the Premier League for a long period of time. Manchester City know how to win Premier League titles.
So just let them be. Let them be. They don't know how to win titles. They have not won it in a very, very long time. These conversations are understandable. But let the club be. Let the club that has won the title go ahead to win the title.
So anyone who says they're not favourites, they're 2 points behind. They ain't 10 points behind. They're 2 points behind Arsenal. It's for me, it's Man City's.
All right, guys. So this is the conversation for today. This is the video I want to make for today. I really, really want to hear from you. Please remember to drop a like. Very, very important. Drop a comment as well, and also please do subscribe to my channel. It is important that you subscribe to my channel. I am begging. I have a lot of people that watch my video, but they rarely subscribe. Thank you so much as you do so, and I'm going to see you in the next video.